Kia ora tātou, ki Warwick Murray tuku ingoa, kei te noho e ke tauranga. So firstly, just a bit of a background in terms of my role in Te Uru Kahika. Te Uru Kahika, for those of you who are not aware, is the body that represents the collective of regional and unitary councils around New Zealand. And so my role as Director of Freshwater Farm Plans is to try and coordinate and support the rollout of the Freshwater Farm Plan regulations across the country. So supporting the councils in doing that rollout. And in the context of what I'm just about to talk about, I'm also the sponsor for the Integrated National Farm Data Platform Development Program. So it's kind of a grand sort of name, and at least initially it's not really going to live up to that, because it will only take the Freshwater Farm Plan data initially. One day it might get its big boy pants on and actually be the one-stop shop for regulated farm data, but let's not rush that. So I should have a as I say, initially just the repository for Freshwater Farm Plan data. It is being developed in partnership with MFE. It's being led by Te Uru Kahika, but it's been developed in partnership with central government, MFE and MPI. And we hope that it will be available for use by early 2025. So it's not going to be holding a huge amount of data from each farm. It will only be holding the administrative data, key dates for certification, audit, those sort of things, audit grades, and it will hold the action plans. So it won't be holding all the full Freshwater Farm Plan. But when you add all that data together from 35,000 farms, that is a substantial amount of data. So the purpose, at the moment what we've got is 16 different systems. There is no standard that's being applied, data standard that's applied across the country. And so a huge amount of energy and effort has to go into trying to make sense of all that data at a national level. So what this is intended to do is be the one-stop shop where we've got consistent data standards, and it's easier for councils and for central government to be able to access and make sense of what's actually happening. So by doing that, we certainly hope that the regional sector will get to capture some of the economies of scale by having it as a centralised, fully managed service for councils, and that in turn will mean less cost for farmers and hopefully more efficiency for farmers. The platform will be held by RSHL, or Regional Service Holding Limited, which is the business arm, if you like, of Te Uru Kahika. And there will be API connections through to certifier industry bodies, so that, say for example, Fonterra or Sinlay, if they've got people who are doing the certification, then that data from their plans can be transferred via an API directly into INFDP. There will also, of course, be API connections into councils and through to MFE. There will be very strict data security standards, so that not everyone will get access to all the data. Only those people who have a need for that data will get access to it, and privacy will be a key factor. Data dumps will be available for councils to integrate into their existing CME systems and so forth. So they can develop their own reporting needs, but it will also provide quite comprehensive reporting capability. There is no farmer portal, so farmers are not entering data directly into INFDP. The requirement will be that the certifier and the auditor enter that data. And as I say, in many cases we're hoping that'll be done via API connections. There is a data schema has been developed to try and get some consistency in the, particularly for that, for the action plan stuff, trying to get some consistency in the way that that is dealt with and held in the system and reported on. Spatial capability will be very limited, at least initially. Under the regulations, there is simply a requirement that a spatial representation of the property boundary to which the plan applies will be provided. INFDP will have that capability to be able to hold that. I hope one day it will have the capacity to also expand that spatial capability, because as we've heard quite a lot in the last 2 days, having that spatial representation of data is so much more user friendly for farmers, in fact actually council people as well. But that's work in progress. As I said, it won't be available until the beginning of 2025, and so in the meantime what we've done is we've stood up what we're calling the bridge, the INFDP bridge. This is really simply a holding mechanism for that data, holding the data in a state that can be readily transferred into INFDP when it comes online, so that doesn't become a major mission for those regions and those parts of the regions that are going to go live under the regulations before INFDP comes online. It does have its limitations. There will be an API connection through to councils, but it'll have very limited reporting capability. You'll be able to get a data dump out of it, but reporting will be quite limited. And that data will come across in kind of spreadsheet form, and it'll be quite hard to make sense of that. As I say, it is principally there just as a holding mechanism until INFDP comes along, and that will be decommissioned once we get that up and running. So that's probably all I needed to cover at the moment, but quite happy to take any quick questions.
We have a couple of minutes for questions. Maybe you can try and address the top one if you can see it.
So central government will get aggregated data at a national level. They'll be able to see what's aggregated at a regional level as well, but they're wanting to aggregate that data at a national level to really just get a sense of how the progress with implementation of the regulations is going. As I say, it will be anonymised data. They won't be able to get access. In fact, most people in councils won't be able to get access to individual farm data. It will be anonymised. Can a council opt out of the bridge and wait for the INFDP? The short answer to that is possibly yes, but then what you're going to need to think about is what is the cost you're going to have to bear in holding and managing that data and then transferring it into INFDP. It will not be a simple task, and so you're going to have to think through that quite carefully. My advice would be, unless you're going live toward the end of 2024 and you've only got a few months, maybe that might be okay, but do it with your eyes wide open. How does this differ from the digital wallet proposed by the Trust Alliance New Zealand? I don't know a lot about that, to be honest, so I'm not probably best placed to answer that question. Yeah, sorry about that, but it's given me a prompt to perhaps investigate it. Origin Green successfully worked in Ireland, and has this platform or components of it been investigated as a viable option? At this stage, what we've done is we've gone out to a wide group of stakeholders, industry, councils and so forth, and we've developed the requirements of the system, and we are about to go out with an RFP, and I would imagine that any potential bidder might potentially look at existing options that are out there and how that might be levered, if you like.
So maybe just the last one at the top.
How will the ongoing costs of this be funded? Will there be an annual maintenance cost on farmers to maintain this data platform? So, as I say, it's been built in partnership between central government and the regional sector. It is not intended that farmers will be asked directly to pay for that. Councils, at this stage, there has been no agreement around how that funding is to be shared, but it will be funded on a shared basis between central government and councils. There will be an ongoing operating cost. At this stage, the very preliminary estimates for the initial capital investment will be around $5 million, and another 4.25 million over the next few years to improve its functionality, and then about $1 million a year to operate it. Now that cost, as I say, we haven't agreed on how that's going to be shared. Councils have the potential, I guess, to pass that cost on to farmers, but no decisions have been made on that at this stage.
So put your hands together for Warwick.